What's up, y'all? It's KingBritneyChanel. You already know. So today's video is going to be about Andria Johnson. I'm going to recap a little bit of her on Iyanla Fix My Life and talk about her struggles and things that she talked about on the show. Definitely, before I get into the video, make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe. And I hope y'all enjoy the video.
I already know. It's your girl, Brittany Chanel.
What is up, honeys? Okay, so y'all know before I have talked about Andria Johnson on my channel before, and the reason why I talked about her before is because she called out the hypocrisy of the church and that sort of thing. And a lot of people look at Andria and they judge Andria, but I think a lot of people, they do like the carnal Christian type of thing. And in my last couple of videos about her, she expressed that, you know, that she's open about who she is and what she does. And, you know, people in the gospel industry kind of hide it. And I agreed with her, you know, on that. Like, you know, a lot of people, they get into these churches. They don't know that it's a mega ministry. It's a very lucrative business. And I agreed with that. There's also some things that I didn't necessarily agree with Andria with, but Andria is on a journey. She's on a process, and we all, you know, fall short, and we all, you know, are saved by grace, not by works. And a lot of carnal Christian people, they'll try to, you know, just turn their nose at certain stuff. But God, I know He's able to deliver His own. And I know that looking at Andria, she's very anointed, like with singing. She's very gifted in that area. And I think her story and her going through whatever she's going through is going to deliver a lot of people who may be struggling with that same thing. Sometimes we go through trials and tribulations in our own lives to be able to minister to people. Now, Andria has been, honey, in the center of controversy for a long time. Like, I remember her on Sunday's Best, and she used to be like, you know, known for like the party and the alcohol. Then it was the whole situation on her cursing, and when she had drunk that Patron on Periscope, and she was explaining, I think she was explaining why she was drinking and why she was cursing. And yeah, I feel like, you know, we all have our moments where we fall short. I do, but I also feel like, because a lot of people, they say stuff like, you know, who's whatever, you know, whoever is what I was saying, cast the first stone, and, you know, kind of get the mote out your own eye, and, you know, only God can judge me. But they leave out other scriptures though, like, you know, there's righteous judgment. And I think there's nothing wrong with people, you know, taking a season off to get themselves, you know, restored, healed, and to allow God to minister to you. Now, let me get on to the Iyanla episode, which I love this particular episode with Andria. Like, I looked at the clips and I loved it. Okay, so first, when I had first saw, the first clip I watched was Andria, she felt like giving up on the show, and Iyanla basically reminded her that, because Andria's thing was, you know, what am I going to tell the label? What am I going to do or whatever? And Iyanla, honey, her short self came stomping down that driveway like, listen, you trying to find, or you trying to lean to your own understanding to try to fix what you have going on with yourself. You trying to put, you know, your comfort or find comfort in the church, these churches, people, alcohol, and all this stuff. And you get your help from God. The only person that can make you whole and have answers to what's going on with you is the Most High God. And Iyanla was telling her that, you know what I mean? If you make excuses to why you're not trying to get yourself together, or you try to figure it out, or lean to your own understanding, that's a lot of things in your life don't come together like that, because our ways is not the Most High God ways. So that's all Iyanla was telling her. Like, you trying to find comfort in these churches, you trying to find comfort in alcohol, because, you know, typically people who are hurting, they do stuff to self-medicate. And I think that that's all Iyanla was explaining to her. Like, you know, if you are a believer in the Most High, or you believe in God, you have to go to God to get restoration, to get healing, to get inner peace and restoration with yourself, because you're not going to find or fill those voids with people, places, things. It's just not going to happen. You're just going to be on an endless cycle looking and searching, but the answers is in Him. So Iyanla basically told her that. But the biggest thing to me, like, I loved it when Iyanla sat her down, and Iyanla had like these different glasses of mimosa or alcohol on a wine cart. And it was like, the first one was like, Leandria said she, I think she drunk it at 11 o'clock in the morning. And I was like, wow. And then it kept going, and she said, you know, well, what time do you do these 3 Long Islands with something, some other drink or whatever? I'm not really a drinker, so I didn't really know what these drinks were, or I knew about Long Islands or whatever. Like, you know, if you have parents and people that have ever drunk in their life, you know, you have friends or whatever. I've been to parties, so I know some of these drinks, but not all of the drinks, you know. So when it got to the 3 o'clock drink, she was like, she had that around 3 o'clock, and her kids got home at 4 o'clock. And so basically it came to, I guess, the last glass or close to the last glass. And Iyanla asked her, well, when do you have that? And she said, well, after the kids is put to bed, bathed, and they, you know, cooked for, they did their homework or whatever, I have that. And so she was like, well, I guess asking her, what did she do in the meantime, between time? And she's like, oh, well, Iyanla's like, well, you really didn't need nothing else, and you was beaming and, you know, hype off them 3 Long Islands. Like, it's just like, when she was asking her these things, and Andria busted out, she was like that she didn't think she was an alcoholic. I was screaming at the screen, like, girl, how are you not an alcoholic? When I'm sitting here looking at these mimosa things, and you saying, like, she told, I guess, Iyanla and the producers that this is the type of pattern of drinking that she did. So I'm looking at the screen like, Andria, what are you talking about? This could take out a, you know, me personally, I don't really drink like that. And, you know, I'm a small person. So in college, you know, they make us take a course about drinking and what's an acceptable amount of alcohol. I know, y'all, it's confusing on why they teach college kids that, but they do teach college students that because of the situations that people can find themselves in college. So Leandria, she doesn't really look like a big person that would be able to withstand all that alcohol like that. She basically was like, you know, I don't feel like I'm an alcoholic because I'm functioning, and, you know, I don't, and I'm just like, wow. And then Iyanla just, I love me some Iyanla. Iyanla just stopped her and said, you sound like one of those, I guess, drug addicts who don't think that they're, I'm not going to say what type of drug addicts that she said, but who don't think that they're an addict. But she mentioned, y'all know what type of drugs, if y'all seen the episode. And basically, she was confused on what an alcoholic is. When you waking up first thing in the morning and you gotta have alcohol, it ain't even happy hour nowhere, and you gotta have alcohol, then again at 3 o'clock, because 11 o'clock to 3 o'clock is not a long time from now. You know, it's not like she's just saying, oh, I have a little wine at dinner after I eat or whatever, or while I'm eating. But you talking about at 11 you have a drink, at 3 o'clock, and then after you cook and, you know, get the kids into bed, that's probably around 7, 8 o'clock, you having another one. So it's just like there's not a lot of time in between these drinks. So I'm just looking at the episode like, wow, like she really thinks that she's a functioning, you know, person and not alcoholic. And I was just like, I don't understand this. And a lot of times people, they do stuff habitually and they can't see that they're spiraling. People on the outside, they can see that the person is spiraling, but the person sometimes cannot see the destructive pattern. Now, Leandria, if for those of you who do not know, she put up a live saying that she was, you know, entering into rehab and that stuff. But she said that she didn't realize that she was an alcoholic until she had an ankle bracelet on for her to stop drinking. And this is from Madame Noir, y'all. This particular little excerpt that I'm going to read or whatever from the article and give my commentary on it. So y'all know gospel singer and season 3 Sunday Best winner Andria Johnson is in rehab for alcohol addiction. The 36-year-old recently did an Instagram live video where she let fans know that she was going to a substance abuse treatment facility for 30 days. And this is what she said. She said, "I owe it to myself, I owe it to God, I owe it to my kids, my family," she said in the video. In it, you can see Andria starting the intake process at the facility, talking with staff, and overall maintaining a positive outlook despite what she was there for. She says, "I'm going to get through it," she told her fans. "I have to. This is a must." So her decision for rehab, they're saying, follows an admission during testimony at a church in Philadelphia on February the 17th in front of the congregation, which reportedly included some residents and staff from the Women Walking in Victory Rehabilitation Center. She told the crowd about her drinking problem. And then this is what she's saying, because Iyanla was saying this on the show. Like, a lot of people do not realize they have a problem until they sitting up there saying it. She said a lot of people, until they get to the AA meeting. And she said, Iyanla basically was like, my name is, she imitated it. She's like, "My name is Andria Johnson and I have a problem," or whatever. And this is a quote about what Andria had to say about her drinking. She says, "I didn't realize I drank so much. I didn't realize it was a day-to-day situation. And the thing about it is I was consumed. It consumed every part of me," she said. "I didn't realize I was drinking Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. I was drinking a lot," she continued. "I woke up, and by the time I would wake, it was 11 something in the morning." That's what she told Iyanla, and they set, the little symbolicness up of it. And she said she was drinking. "I didn't realize it consumed my day. I didn't have time to talk to God. I didn't have time to be there for my kids like I needed to." Johnson said that she used alcohol to numb the pain of certain things, including the loss of her brother. This is the type of thing, like when people are looking to fill a void, or they have not went into their healing process. So a lot of times, therapy, y'all, I tell y'all, is a good thing for people. I know a lot of people, they don't like therapy or whatever, or they're like, "What can a person that's a psychologist tell me about myself?" But it's not really the person telling you about yourself. It's just allowing somebody from the outside that maybe is not your family, friends, who is not going to judge you, who's just going to sit there and let you talk about and get that pain out, so that you could have some type of resolve and work through trauma. Because a lot, especially in the Black community, a lot of people, there's so much traumatic stuff that people deal with, and they self-medicate, and then they end up spiraling into these situations and trying to use alcohol, drowning their woes in a bottle, or whatever they use. Like, some people use social media to cope with pains of situations. You know what I mean? They use it as a medication. I noticed they need to have an anonymous group for that, to where, internet anonymous, to where people who have that issue, because it's like some people, they grow up with low self-esteem, and then they use the internet and likes and social media stuff as medication. Some people, they have, issues or whatever, where some stuff has happened and they get addicted to stuff like, SCX and stuff or whatever. So it's just a lot of things. Like, people don't deal with problems, or they don't talk about their feelings, and it just boils up into these big situations. And she says, and even those in her life told her that she needed to slow down, but she wasn't trying to hear anybody. And a lot of times when it comes from people that's close to you and they try to give you advice, you don't really want to hear it. But it took an outside source coming in a real life situation for her to realize that she was in some trouble. And she, this part was about her, the loss of her brother. But one of, I don't know if that was, I don't know how many brothers she has, but Iyanla did interview a brother on the show. And she basically was telling him that he should tell Andria, like, that he went to Alcohol Anonymous and he had his own issues. You know, they said that both of their parents were, you know, ministers, and that set a standard. And, you know, they weren't able to, you know, do a lot of stuff like, you know, experience the world, like, you know, go to movies, do stuff, parties, and that sort of stuff when they were younger. And I guess that caused a lot of pressure on them. You know, it's always a lot of pressure when you the pastor's child or whatever. You know, I had a lot of pressure kind of on me. But I never, you know, my situation is kind of different because I never felt like my mom was forcing God on me. It was kind of like I was young and I was introduced to God and I met God. And, you know, he became the father and the rule and reign and head over my life at a very young age. And I loved it. But some people, I don't know, it just depends on your parents. Like some people kind of press that issue, and some people it's like, you know, they just come to God willingly. It takes them going through trials and tribulations till they come back. You know what I mean? And she says that she was in denial. And this was the quote. Anyway, y'all. She said, "You know how long it took me to first be able to accept that I had a problem. Don't rush folks while they're in the process of whatever they're in the process of. Allow God to do the work." So basically, if y'all want to know what happened to Andria, she was pulled over and arrested and locked up for 30 days. And that's when she realized that she actually had an issue. And so basically, she said, "I went out one night and I was drinking and I got in the car." She said, "I got behind the wheel and turned the car on. I promise you, my house was 8 minutes. The number 8 means new beginnings. I left the bar, got in my car. I was only 8 minutes away from the bar to my house. I proceeded to drive. My headlight was out. They didn't pull me over for swerving, for speeding. They pulled me over because I had a headlight out. The person I was with told them I had a few drinks, but I'm telling myself it's okay. I can drive. I can go home. I can make it." So they let the individual go, but they breathalyzed her and told her to get out the car and walk the fine line. And basically, she passed all of that because she said, I'm good. And she said she was still in denial, but then they locked her up. And she said, "I'm good. I'm going to get out." And went through, got on probation, violated probation, locked her back up. This is crazy. And I tell you this, had it not been for the situation, I wouldn't be where I am now. So after violating her probation, she ended up having to wear the ankle bracelet. But this is my thing. I think God could have saved her life because drinking and driving is definitely like poor choices. And who's to say that them stopping her could have prevented something more traumatic and tragic from happening? See, a lot of people be thinking that because you get into situations that it's, you know, they think about the situation that they're in as being dreadful, but they don't know that God has angels watching over them to prevent situations to where, you know, who knows if she could have been on, you know, God forbid, in a collision, and, you know, her whole life would have been done. Because if you hit somebody and you're a drunk driver, your whole life is finito. Okay? You are done. And, you know, the worst part about it is if you hurt another person and you hurt yourself, that's a serious situation. So I really feel like this was a wake-up call for her. I want to know what y'all thoughts about, you know, the episode, because I feel like all the way from, you know, seeing Andria from Preachers of Atlanta, you know, I always thought, you know, honey, this God got some work, but she got a story, and that's why I have a real life connection. Like when I listen to Andria or I look at her shows and stuff, all the way from when she was on Preachers of ATL, honey, and she was out there. I think she was dressing, was it her that was dressing like a prostitute? And she was giving out cigarettes and condoms, honey. When she was on this daggone Iyanla Van Zant show, she was smoking a cigarette, and Iyanla came across, honey, quoting them Bible scriptures, and I was like, what is going on here? But I like it because the people that are closest to God are the people that are the realest people, that will admit that they have a problem, that they're not perfect. Because when you admit that you're not complete, that you're not whole, that you're going through stuff, that's when you are at a moment where God could come in and help you. But if you pretend like everything is all together and everything is holier than now and all of this stuff, then you're not getting the help from the Most High that you need. It's about being transparent. But I will say this, because a lot of people somehow believe in their mind, and I'm going to just end it with this, that, okay, everybody sins, we're saved by grace, but it comes to a point where you do have to set a standard, because you are accountable still for your sins. So you do have to, you go through your process, but eventually you have to change, because you don't want to continue to do stuff and then God forbid something happens to you and you pass away in that mess. You go on to the glory with that mess on you. You have to allow God to do it for you. You have to give everything that you are to God, the Most High, and you have to trust in His process, trust in Him, and He'll perfect those things that are not perfect in you. And I think that's what Andria, I hope that she is realizing, that she has to give everything to God. You know, even if she got to start over, you know, as long as you are alive today and God has blessed you with that gift and that opportunity to have another day to change, then that's all that matters. It's KingBritneyChanel. You already know. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I didn't want to be long, but I'm glad that y'all stuck here with me, and I will see y'all on the next video.